The Joe Burrow window core of players is set. Let's take a look. Let's go. What is up, Bengals fam? It's your boy Mike coming back at you again with another Who Daily. What I wanted to do today is on the eve this week, the Bengals have been making signings for their rookie players. I want to take a look at that real quick, and then look at the core players that are going to be around through the majority of Joe Burrow's rookie contract, because that's going to be the core of young players that if they're going to be successful, these guys need to be successful, and we're going to take a look at that. So just this week they signed Jackson Carman, which was today. He signed through 2024. Obviously, these contract lengths are set for rookies. So Wyatt Hubert also signed their 7th round draft pick. He signed through 2024 as well. They also yesterday signed the wide receiver Trent Taylor, who I believe is going to be mainly a kick return, maybe a substitute slot receiver type of dude. They also signed Deontay Smith through 2024 on his rookie deal. Really good things coming out of camp about Deontay Smith, putting on weight, looking really good with his independent hand usage. He's super athletic. Could be a low-key sleeper for their center of the future there. Or not center, I'm sorry, that would be Trey Hill, who they also signed yesterday through 2024. Both of those guys looking really good in camp. Could be some good late-round finds for the Bengals going forward. They also signed their running back out of Michigan, Chris Evans, through 2024, as well as Evan McPherson, their kicker, for that window through 2024. They signed Cam Sample, obviously, and Tyler Shelvin. Before that, they picked up Puka Williams, a running back out of Kansas, who is likely going to be their kind of third down back type, scat back type of dudes filling in. He and Chris Evans are likely going to share duties in spelling and kind of filling in that Gio Bernard's shaped hole in the backfield that the Bengals are going to experience. They also signed some interesting dudes. Look out for Drew Chrisman, who may end up being their punter, who may finally kind of unseat Kevin Huber as the Bengals punter. They also signed Cheyenne O'Grady, a tight end, who's he's going to be in the mix. I don't know if he'll make the team or not, but he's an interesting pickup, right? So you got the ball rolling here. The Bengals are signing their guys. They're getting their rookie contracts out of the way. Jamar Chase and I believe Joseph Osai are the only two we're waiting on. There's not going to be an issue with that, so it's not a big deal. So let's take a look. What's Joe Burrow going to be working with for the next 3-4 years as he works through his rookie contract? What's this core of players going to look like? Well, obviously you've got, for the wide receiver group, you've got Tyler Boyd, probably best top five. We'll go top 5 to be safe, but in my opinion, best slot receiver in the game, Tyler Boyd. He's signed through 2024, as well as the other outside receiver, T. Higgins, signed through 2024. Once Jamar Chase signs, he'll be signed through 2025. So you got the wide receiver room set. You've even got, Auden Tate's contract's up next year. Stanley Morgan's contract's up next year, as well as Mike Thomas. So you got a bunch of dudes that are going to be kind of rotating after that top group of 3 receivers there. They're going to be kind of filtering in, finding the right players to be role players in the wide receiver group. But that is a very good group of wide receivers when you throw Jamar Chase in there. As far as the tight end room goes, CJ Uzomah is only signed through 2022. He's their number 1 right now, and Drew Sample is through 2023. So they don't really have, that might be something to look out for. Maybe they pick up a tight end or trade for one this year, or maybe they target one higher in the draft next season. But they're going to need to, unless Drew Sample takes a really big leap forward from a route running, pass catching perspective, which he absolutely is capable of, but we just haven't seen that yet, and that's okay. Tight ends take a little bit longer to develop than a lot of other positions. But let's take a look at the offensive line, who signed through at least 2024. So you got Jonah Williams, whose contract is going to be up in 2024. He was a first-round pick, so he will be, I believe they'll be able to pick up an option to pick up his 5th year on that one. Jackson Carman is signed through 2025, as well as Deontay Smith, the two draft picks this year. You've got, let's see who else. That's it as far as tackles. on the roster. You've got Riley Reef, who signed just this 1 year. He's got an option to come back in 2023, but he's older, so we're not considering him really part of that core group. I think he's a fill-in-the-gap type of player this year. Insurance policy so that they could go ahead and draft Jamar Chase, essentially. So that's it for the tackles. Let's take a look at the guards. Billy Price's contract is up in 2022. That's the chair, I promise. Billy Price's contract is up in 2022. They've already declined to pick up his 5th-year option, so looks like unless he has a big prove-it year coming up, he needs to really prove that he belongs on this team and belongs on the roster in the Joe Burrow window this year. So look out for that this year to see if he takes a really big step forward, and then they could always re-sign him. Even though they didn't pick up that 5th-year option. Akeem Adeniji, contract is up in 2024, so he'll be around through that window. Mike Jordan is up in 2023. He's not really considered a part of that core player group, I don't think, unless again he takes a really big step forward. He's super young. He's only 23, so there is there is the chance he takes that step forward. But then you got another older guy, Quentin Spain. His contract's up in 2022. So that's the offensive line. They've got some work to do there. As far as the window goes, they've really only got 2 solidified starters there as far as guys that we know are going to be around through the whole window. So that everybody knows this already. We've already been talking about how they do have work to do along that offensive line. So that's what we're looking at from the O-line perspective. Let's now take a look at the running backs. Obviously, Joe Mixon just signed a huge contract. He'll be here for the whole window through 2025. You've got Samaje Perine through 2023, Travion Williams through 2023 as well, and then you got Puka Williams through 2024, and Chris Evans through 2025. So their running back room is pretty set. They probably don't need to do a whole lot there, just kind of role player pieces here and there. I don't see them spending much more draft capital on this position until Joe Burrow's contract is getting closer to being up. So let's take a look then. Okay, what are we going to? Let's look at the linebacker unit. So you've got Jordan Evans, whose contract is up 2022. Not really looking to be around for that window. But you've got Logan Wilson through 2024, Akeem Davis-Gaither through 2024, and Jermaine Pratt's contract is up in 2023. But I really expect them to extend, as long as the price is right, and I don't see why it wouldn't be. I look for them to extend Jermaine Pratt. He's taken some really good steps forward, and he's only 24 years old, so you could make the argument he's their best linebacker right now. Logan Wilson had a good year last year, and he'll probably end up being their best linebacker. But Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt are the same age. They're both 24, so that's a good core of young linebackers there that they can have sticking around and give a good foundation for that defense to build on right there in the middle. You've also got obviously Joseph Asai, who's signed through 2025, and he's listed as a linebacker. He's going to more play the edge rush outside when they run a 5-man front, kind of stand up outside linebacker that rushes the passer more often. I really don't see them using him as much like Jermaine Pratt, who's going to be more of your traditional stand-up, off-the-line linebacker as an outside linebacker. Joseph Asai is going to be used more when they're going to walk one linebacker up to be a pass rusher or show pass rush. That'll be him more times than not. He'll also just rotate in and be hand in the dirt outside pass rush on pass rush downs. But he's signed through 2025, so you've got 3 really solid linebackers there on your team, signed through most of or all of the Joe Burrow window. So you don't really need to worry too much about that unless there's some big injuries or these guys take a step backward, or they don't progress at all, right? So let's take the defensive tackle room. DJ Reader signed through 2024. There are health issues there, but if he stays healthy, he's one of the better nose tackles in the league. They just signed Larry Ogunjobi, but he's only through 2022, so they'll need to look for more 3-tech options unless they're going to extend him. Kind of a prove-it contract for Ogunjobi. If he comes in and plays well, they'll try to extend him. I'm sure of it. You've got Cam Sample, who is kind of going to be a hybrid to start out. He's going to be like a hybrid outside pass rusher slash 3-tech pass rusher. So he's signed through 2025, and as well as Tyler Shelvin, who's pure nose tackle. Tyler Shelvin is they're going to be able to rotate Tyler Shelvin along with DJ Reader in order to keep both of them fresh, so they don't get gassed for late in the games. But they'll be when you put if they do get both of them on the field at once, that's a lot of man to be moving around if you're going to be trying to run the ball. So that's why I think the Bengals run defense is going to be improved next year. It kind of has to be, because it wasn't very good last year. But these guys, if they're able to stay healthy, they're going to be really this is going to be a good unit to watch. You've got Renell Wren, who is signed through 2023. You know, they'll have to make a decision there. But you've got Josh Tupou signed through 2022, another decision to make, and as well as Mike Daniels, who's getting older. I think he's 33. So really, the core you're looking at is going to be Shelvin, Reader, Cam Sample for that interior defensive line. And I do think Cam Sample is going to end up being a more 3-tech interior player than he is an outside pass rusher. So let's take a look at the defensive end spot. You got Trey Hendrickson signed through 2025. You've got Khalid Kareem through 2024, and Sam Hubbard's contract is up in 2022. They're going to have to make a decision on Sam Hubbard. I mean, how much money are they going to be willing to throw at a guy? He's going to need to put up a really big. If he puts up a really big season this year, they will. I think they will, because he's their guy. They drafted him, and that's what the Bengals do. If you perform in a Bengals uniform, typically they'll try to extend you. But it's going to depend on what the market's like for him, because I don't think they'll try to overpay, and they shouldn't try to overpay to keep him around. But you've got Wyatt Davis signed through 2025. There's probably more going to be. He might be a contributor later on, but starting out, he's just going to be a special teamer type guy. You've got Imani Bledsoe through 2022, and not part of the core. As far as defensive end, edge rusher, edge play goes, you can lump in Joseph Asai, because that's where he's going to play most of the time. So pretty decent core there, I think, and it really depends on if Trey Hendrickson maintains the type of play he had last year to this year and beyond. So let's look at the defensive backfield. Let's look at the corners. So in the cornerback room, you've got Trey Waynes on a pretty big contract, but it's up in 2023. We'll have to make a decision on him when his contract's getting closer. But you've got Mike Hilton through 2025, Chidobe Awuzie through 2024. Darius Phillips' contract is coming up, and I don't expect them to re-sign him. I think he gets a little frustrated with the lack of playing time, and he's probably going to look to hit the free agent market. You've got Antonio Phillips, who's signed through 2024, who's not really in play to be considered the core. Eli Apple's on kind of a prove-it deal through 2022. And you've got, let's see, Tony Brown and Jalen Davis, Winston Rose. You got, just a bunch of dudes that are trying to make the squad through 2022. So really your core that you have that are going to be around through, unless they get traded, which the Bengals don't do a whole lot of trading. So you're going to be looking at Mike Hilton, Chidobe Awuzie. That's about it. I mean, they really. So you can lump Trey Waynes in there. He'll be in Cincinnati till 2023. But look for before Trey Waynes' contract is up. Look for the Bengals to be looking to draft a cornerback really high in the draft. In fact, that may be what they do in the next draft. It'll be more than, because corner is a lot like wide receiver. It's tough to find late round guys that are going to make a really big impact a lot of times, and it's kind of a crapshoot. Whereas you pick a corner in the first round, typically those guys pan out and they play really well. Offensive line, it's different, right? You can find guys like Jackson Carman in the second round. You can find guys like Andrew Whitworth in the second round, right? So it's a little bit, you can find, essentially you can end up drafting the best interior offensive linemen every year in the second round, because they rarely go in the first round, whereas corners are not like that. If you don't get your guy in the first round, it's tough to find him later on. But look, this is a talented group of players. What it's really going to come down to, guys, is can this coaching staff get their stuff together, and can this roster stay healthy? If those two things come together this year, you could be looking at a really surprising year from the Bengals, surprising a lot of people. And you could look at them, I think, you know what? I think they're a dark horse to make a playoffs, not just make the playoffs, but win a game or two in the playoffs. And if that's the case, we're talking conference championship game. How about that? Don't want to get your hopes up too high, though. This is the Bengals channel, and we all know how that goes. But that's all I wanted to tell you guys today. I've been Mike. This has been Who Daily. See ya.